Hello, my name is Lily Ganstrom, and the survival skills I will be teaching everyone is first container gardening and then pickling, or food storage. So first we're going to get into container gardening. Now, many of us experienced food shortages during the COVID-19 pandemic, and it brought to light how fragile our global food supply is. So it's essential to have gardening knowledge so you can provide for yourself in times of crisis. And additionally, gardening is advantageous and it's healthy. So let's get started. To begin, I'm creating a mini container garden as the container gardens at the Food Forest have already been planted and I don't want to disturb anyone's grow. So I will be using the smaller container that mimics a larger container. When you're creating a container garden, you usually want to create one with wood planks or concrete blocks that has a bed that is 4 feet by 4 feet and is 6 inches high. You can 100% create container gardens that are not square, but a beginner should start with a more uniform shape. So now you're going to want to start adding your soil to your container garden. Great soil is usually a mixture of 75% compost and 25% topsoil. So you want to ensure that you have a high concentration of matter and nutrients in your container garden. Depending on what you want to grow, make sure your soil isn't too sandy or too dense with clay. You want to make sure that your soil has a pH balance that is ideal for your future plants. My soil here has, again, 75% compost and 25% topsoil for my seeds. I always like to say healthy soil is like a healthy gut, and a healthy soil is the key to healthy plants. So in the soil, it digests everything for the plant. They absorb all the nutrients from the soil. So you really want to make sure your soil is nice and healthy. As you can see, I add a guide to my container. I used a palm frond leaf, but you could use twine or anything like that. I just use that to kind of give myself a guide. You want to make sure that your seeds are spaced out correctly. If you have seeds on top of each other or seeds that are too spaced out, sometimes it can disturb your grow. So you want to make sure that they are spaced out how they should, usually a few inches apart depending on the plants. Now you want to pick your seeds. Today I will be planting onions, which is more of a winter crop here in Florida. But when you're about to plant your seeds, you should ask yourself a few things before you plant. Number one, how will it grow? So if you're growing tomatoes, they would grow upward and need a trellis. If you're growing squash, they like to crawl on the ground. And understanding how plants grow will allow you to know where to plant them. So I'm growing onions and their bulbs will be under the soil with their stalks growing directly upward. So if you tried to grow beans next to something that crawls, they might get on top of each other and they wouldn't be able to grow right. So you really want to make sure you know how your plants are going to grow. Number two, what time of year should I plant? Some veggies are annuals and others are perennials. So ensuring you know when to plant your seeds will ensure that they will grow and provide you with a good harvest. Number three, how deep do I need to plant my seeds? If you plant your seeds too shallow or too deep, they won't grow properly. I planted my seeds about a 1/4 inch deep into the soil. Now once you've planted your seeds, then you water them in. Young seeds need to stay moist with consistent indirect or direct sunlight. And when placing your container garden in your yard, you want to make sure all your seeds have the exact same amount of sunlight and water so they all have equal chances of a strong grow. You want to make sure that you place your container garden before you start planting, just to make sure that you have the correct sunlight and water conditions for your plants. And now you get to rejoice because all you get to do is just wait for them to grow as you continue to water them as needed. Now, container gardening is great because you're able to control the water and the soil in your garden, but you can practice these same principles in an in-ground garden as well. In in-ground gardens, they allow you to be more creative with your planting. This is one I did a few weeks ago, and it's so much fun to come back every single day and see how much my plants have grown. Okay, next I'm going to be teaching you all one way to store the food you grow through a process called pickling. Many of us have eaten pickled foods before, with the most popular choice being pickled cucumbers. Pickling is a process where you use salt, water, vinegar, and other herbs all in a jar together to preserve your food for weeks, months, or even years. Before we start pickling, I want to go over a few safety measures you should keep in mind before you start. 1. As a beginner pickler, always use USDA-approved recipes. Random recipes you find online may not have the adequate salt ratios, which can lead to a potential bacterial outbreak in your jar. Number 2, use the proper type of salt. Ensure you are following the recipe and using canning salt for your pickled food. 3, Ensure you know how long you can store your food. You don't want to be craving your pickled creation and discover that all your hard work went spoiled, so ensure you know how long your food can be stored for. 4. Label your jars. Labeling your jars allows you to understand what you pickled and when you pickled and how long it can be there for. Alright, now let's get started. Today I will be demonstrating a pickled carrots recipe. For this recipe you will need carrots, white distilled vinegar, water, sugar, canning salt, garlic, and peppercorns. First, you're going to rinse and wash your jar and fill it with hot water to prep it to be filled with hot carrots. Then peel your carrots, re-rinse them, and cut them into small enough pieces to fit inside of a pint-sized jar. Then combine vinegar, water, sugar, and salt all in a pot. Then stir and bring all the ingredients to a boil. Boil gently for 3 minutes. Now, add carrots and bring back to a boil. Then reduce heat to a simmer for about 10 minutes until the carrots are half cooked. Once the 10 minutes have passed, fill the hot jars with hot carrots, leaving 1 inch of headspace. Cover with hot pickling liquid and leave 1/2 inch of headspace. Now you are all done. Letting the carrots sit for a few days will result in the best flavor. And you can put the carrots on sandwiches, as a healthy snack, on a side of one of your favorite dishes, and all you have to do is store it in the fridge. These carrots can be preserved for around a month before they went bad. I hope you all enjoyed my 2 survival techniques, and I hope you all had an amazing semester. If you have any questions, please just leave a comment below the video and I will try to answer them all. Bye!